Good afternoon. It is February 9th, 2022, and I am starting a bit early because I have to watch my son this week, and I just don't know when I'll have a better time to record. So I am starting at 12:07, so I'm sure we'll try and test like maybe the opening price or this price level down here. We rallied up in the overnight, and the trend was it had a strong upward bias. Even though shortly after the open you could see we were really just chopping around, the bias was definitely up. So let's take a look at these trades. By the way, my long target was definitely not reached. I measured this leg up in the overnight, and let's see if we move it back to this. Still not even close. So anyway, I don't think you want to enter any of this. So 5 o'clock comes around here at this higher low, and I don't think you can enter that. We don't know if we're gonna find some resistance right there. It looks, congestive, even though the trend up is strong. I don't think you want to take that. You can see we did find some resistance here, and that led to this spike in channel up to break, but that formed another spike in channel, really. So we have this congestive area, and you have a first entry, failed second entry long, or failed second entry short, excuse me, and it's kind of like a breakout pullback. And with the bias being up, I think you can take an aggressive trade like that, and it confirms this channel. And really, you would enter one tick above this bar. I think I didn't even notice that and entered above this bar. But yeah, you want to enter above this bar and put your stop below this one. And yeah, that just, it takes off after that. If you want to take this higher low, you might do that. But if you're patient, you get a first entry, second entry. It breaks lower there and then goes higher. Second entry, the signal bar is not great, but it's off that trend channel. And this bias is up. So we keep moving up, and you get a first, failed second entry short again, and actually you would go above this bar. And yeah, that gets you a nice move up too, and we hit the, I think, okay, that's why I marked it aggressive, is because it's not quite back to the trend line yet. It's just bouncing off the EMA. So you can see we test the resistance again and again. And I marked this as like a repeat pattern of this. You can see I had the 1 and the 2 here. When this trend channel fizzles out, that looks like this right here. However, I did mark this trade as sort of a first, failed second entry short. And you do get a scalp out of that, but that's all you get. You'll have to excuse my voice. I do have COVID, and yeah, I'm losing my voice, as you can see here. But for all the top pickers out there, you might take this failed second entry long. But for me, I felt like the bias was heavily up. I just thought that right here, prices might come down and test the opening price, which they eventually did. But I wouldn't do that on a day like today, just because the bias was up. And at this point, it just looked like a range, so I don't want to really enter any of this. And I think, yeah, I had my highs drawn off of here first. So some people might consider this, and some people might consider this, for sure. But when we get this, matter of fact, I don't know, I'm going to definitely mark this. You have this first failed second entry off of this price level. I do like that a lot, even though the EMA is right there. That would make me a little nervous, but then when we get this higher low that closes above the EMA, I think you got to take that. And you can see that works out very well. We find resistance up here, which ends up being, in my opinion, the top of this range. You can see the midline really holding prices with that being the top of the range. So I think this technically might be a failure of some sort, or a second entry. Okay, maybe not. That's probably why I marked it. Oh, because it's just a higher low off of this trend channel. So it's just a first entry. It looks great, but it's just a first entry. And yeah, that ends up being the highest of the channel. So it's a good thing you don't enter on those first entries. We try and go lower here, bounce off the midline. And when you get this higher low, I looked at this as the double top. So first entry, second entry, I think that's a great trap. You can see some people might have looked at this as a downtrend, and really that's just not the case. And so that's a great move up. But we do find resistance up there again after we make a new high. And you see again, we get a first entry, failed second entry long for the top pickers out there. It does set up well. We bounce off the midline again, and some people might consider going long here. There's plenty of space back to the EMA, but I don't like that below the EMA. Not sure what's happening really. Just chopping around here. People getting chopped to pieces. And then we hit the lows pretty much at bounce. And it's hard to argue for this as a failure, especially because this is so congested. It looks like a first failed second entry kind of, but and it is a second entry long, but I don't think you can take that. Just doesn't set up well. Then we're moving higher, and we do make two measured legs up. You can see I measured the first leg from here, second leg from here, and you can see we hit that target. And we do get a nice failure off the trend line right here. First entry, failed second entry. And you can also see this first entry, second entry doesn't trigger. We go below the EMA and make a higher low right here, but that doesn't look too good to me. That looks congested. You can see this congestion over here. But when we get this failure and all these higher lows, unfortunately that doesn't set up well. But I mean, not that it doesn't set up well. It sets up below the EMA, but with the bias being up, and we've been trying to go higher. I just like that. I like that move. You can see prices, they couldn't quite make it to the top of this channel, so eventually they first failed second entry long again for the top pickers, and that's where we're at right now. It looks like we're going lower. Hard to say. Let me review the trades I took. I took both very early on. It's really, you could feel the buying coming in. So again, unfortunately I entered one tick above this bar, so I didn't get triggered until here. I should have entered above this bar, but I think that's a good read on a breakout pullback, failed second entry short. And then I entered on this second entry long. That's also off the trend channel. So those are two really good trades, or two good entries. The first trade I should have entered above the other bar, but that's what I saw for today, and those are the trades I took. God bless you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.